James Bond, especially in the early years, is the classic example of films and books which were made, and here I'm talking about films, which were made to show you great style over substance. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Franchise Focus, my series where I watch and review all of the films from some of the greatest franchises of all time. And today we're taking a look at James Bond, the second film in the series from Russia with Love. It, of course, stars Sean Connery as James Bond. The film came out in 1963, and the plot of the film was quite simple. There is this organization called Spectre, which is both against the Russians and against the Western Alliance, and they have decided that they are going to do some mischief, I guess, by trying to get this kind of code device that the Russians have. I think it's called Locker or something like that. I forgot exactly what the code device is called. And then they basically tell the Russians that the British are going to steal it. They tell the British that the Russians are going to give it to them. And all of this is going to happen in Turkey. And you get a great scene in the beginning with, I'm not sure who the head of Spectre is supposed to be. He's just referred to as number one. And he has this, he's petting this cat. You don't see his face. So immediately you think of, or at least somebody of my generation would think of Austin Powers, of course, but also of Inspector Gadget and Dr. Evil, I think his name was. So anyway, this is a great scene in the beginning where there's like these Siamese fighting fish and they're fighting each other, and number one feeds one of the fish to his cats, and then you have number two and number three. Number three is this Russian chess master, and also the way they show the chess match is beautiful. I think if they still did it this way, chess would be so popular. So they're playing this match in a palace, and they're playing on a table that's on a floor that has the pattern of the tiles makes a chessboard. And then, there's this huge chessboard on the wall where you can see the moves of the game. When a player moves, they move these huge chess pieces. It's a really great opening. But then the movie switches. So basically the plot is that Spectre is trying to convince this girl who works for the Russian embassy in Turkey that she needs to do something for the Russian Secret Service, and she's very loyal, so she's going to do it. So up until that point, the movie is quite interesting, but when you actually get James Bond in it, um, it turns into this ad for Turkey because you have James Bond going to this party and having to adjudicate this blood feud between these two women who want to marry this one man. And I kind of checked out at that moment. I mean, Turkey looks beautiful. And of course, this is the era of mid-century modern. So you see all of the stylish architecture and hotels, and the cars look wonderful, and everything looks wonderful in this movie. But the middle part is a bit boring. But then you get to the end where James Bond has successfully, of course, seduced Tatiana. That's the name of the Russian. She's been convinced to spy, and that's from the Russia with Love title. And they're trying to escape Turkey, and they're going through Bulgaria. So they're trying to escape Bulgaria on this train, and they get caught by somebody who's kind of introduced as one of the big bad villains, but he doesn't actually do anything villainous until the end. And they do have a great scene, him and Bond, because the guy is some kind of reject. He got the job offer from Spectre after leaving a British prison. And you can see this really buff guy, and then he opens his mouth and he's got this hoity-toity British accent, and it's kind of funny. He keeps calling James an old man, and James doesn't like it, and they fight. And then that's pretty much the end of the movie. Oh yeah, and then there's another point where they're actually in Venice and they're in the hotel, and number two or three, I don't remember her number at this point. She's this former director of SMERSH, which is the Russian Secret Intelligence Service. She's gone over to Spectre, so she's going to try and kill James Bond herself and return the code machine to the Russians because of plot reasons. Now they want to give the code machine back to the Russians. But yeah, they fight, and that's a pretty good fight. She's a good character as well. She's kind of like the main villain. I would say the movie is um, like kind of boring in the middle, good in the beginning, and at the end. But it's not really action packed. It's more about the style over the substance. And I think James, he sleeps, or at least it's implied that he has relationships with a lady in the beginning that he's having um, a picnic with, then Miss Mudhoney or Mudpenny, I forgot what her name is. But the woman who works for MI6, they do this flirtation thing. And then I think there's another woman in Turkey before he gets to the Russian woman that he's trying to seduce. And it's really weird because she basically writes him a fan letter saying, "Hey, I really like you." Um, and it's weird because, like, why would you have a fan? They do mention it in the movie, but why would a secret agent have fan mail? And it's an odd thing to happen. So yeah, he's a dog in this movie, like he is in all movies, especially of this era. But I also noticed one thing that's interesting about James Bond in this film is that they also try to make him a sex symbol. I don't think that he would necessarily be attractive by our standards, modern standards. He doesn't have a six pack, but he's without his shirt throughout multiple times in this film. So they're clearly saying that Sean Connery is attractive and he is a sex symbol, and this movie is all about sex. So I think that's at least fair. I mean, I don't know why also they had this, thing about Spectre. So Spectre is a fundamental part of the James Bond story. Um, I don't really know why Ian Fleming came up with Spectre when you already have Cold War stuff with the Russians. So if I was gonna rate this, I thought the beginning is good and the end is good, but the middle drags, and it's a really stylish movie. So it's not one that you're gonna be like, oh yeah, From Russia with Love changed my life, but it's enjoyable enough. So I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. So if you like what I do, please subscribe to my videos, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and leave a comment. All right, bye-bye.